Yeah, we back. We back. Now today, man, I'm gonna raise the question. I'm gonna ask it, right? I'm gonna just go out and say it. Should Tariq Nasheed fans be allowed in black nations? Should Tariq Nasheed fans be allowed in black nations? All right. The reason why I asked that is because we have a young lady, right? A young lady who subscribes to the ideology of Tariq Nasheed and that whole conglomerate right there, right? And she actually recently took a trip to Jamaica for her birthday. And instead of actually sitting back and enjoying the beautiful beaches and the beautiful sun and, enjoying the view, taking pictures, enjoying life, we only got one life. Life is very short. Instead of enjoying life, she decided to engage in these, what they call diaspora wars, right? So instead of enjoying her vacation, she decided to antagonize Jamaicans on social media, right? Like I told you, these folks, for whatever reason, when it comes to their form of nationalism does not come from the pride and accomplishments of their ancestors. Their form of nationalism comes by antagonizing other blacks, right? That is where they feel their rush of pride and dignity from, because when you confront them on the topic, they simply say, listen, I'm just riding for my culture. I'm just riding for my nationality, right? Their form of nationalism is antagonizing other blacks. So anyways, man, let's get into it. Take a look up on the screen. Before we get into what she said the other day, I'm going to, take a trip down memory lane onto some other things she said on social media, so you kind of get an idea of this person's mindset, right? This person's mentality, right? So way back about 2 years ago, she said this: when it comes to black Americans, I feel like we have a majority of indigenous blood running through us. When it comes to the small percentage of Africans that came over here and might have mixed with us, some of us probably have that blood in us as well. Now, off the rip, when I talk about people who I classify as fans of Tariq Nasheed, it's a specific ideology. It's a specific sector of people. It's a specific demographic of people, right? They try to hide behind the title of Black American and try to encapsulate themselves into the 40 million plus population of Black Americans. But like I told you before, this ideology in real life, it doesn't translate in real life. I never had a black man come up to me talking about, I'm an indigenous, aboriginal, ancient American that sprang from the soil of North America. I've never heard this shit in real life. It only exists on social media, right? So anyways, let's dive in deeper into the mindset. Another time, she actually said this as well. If they supposedly shipped 100 million slaves from Africa to America, average 200 slaves per ship, where the fuck are the 500,000 slave ships? We've been here. Okay, so a person who subscribes to the ideology of Tariq Nasheed, they believe they're a mixed race. They believe they sprang from the soils of North America, and they believe that the slave trade did not exist because they don't believe that that many Africans made it to the New World. Now, thankfully for me, my ancestors, thank God, they left books behind. They wrote literature back in the year 1804, 1811, 1813, 1815, 1816, 1819 that actually supports that, yes, Africans did come here on them ships, and they gave detailed accounts of what happened on the ship and what happened on the plantation, right? Go to my playlist section. I've read multiple books from black men who were alive during the early 19th century that gave their firsthand accounts of what our people went through during that time, right? So these folks, it is what it is. Yeah, it is what it is. Thank God my ancestors established printing presses and left this literature behind for their descendants to read. And I shared that on my channel. So anybody saying the slave trade didn't happen, Africans didn't come here on the ships, listen, man. That's why I asked the question, should these people be allowed to come into black nations? I don't think so. Now, let's get into what she said the other day when she went to Jamaica for her birthday or whatever like that. Take a look up on the screen. The other day, she went to Jamaica and she said, I'm cosplaying Jamaican culture like they do to us, black Americans. It's actually so fun. I recommend it. I love it. Okay. She went on to say, and the bottom line is, nobody's gonna stop any black Americans from dabbling in whatever culture they want to on earth, because everyone, and I mean everyone, does it to us, and nobody can deny that fact. So be triggered and be uncomfortable, then swallow and digest that hard pill. And then she went on to say, it's been a great day, whether it's the life vest for the kayaks or the waist beads I tried to buy. They keep saying my waist is too small. They have to get something smaller. Oh, okay. All right. Anyways. Now, let's take a look at some of the reactions on social media. This person said, the wild thing is, Jamaicans actually welcome people to experience their culture. So you're saying this is kind of disrespectful to the wrong group. If you were saying this about Korea, a country with a history of disrespecting blacks and stealing from black culture, then yeah, I'm down. But you're punching down on the wrong people. Jamaicans will always welcome you, even if you're bad mind. Now, in general, I mean, black folks will welcome anybody, man. I mean, black folks will welcome an extraterrestrial to their country. I mean, ain't no rules. You know what I'm saying? You could just, man, listen. Anybody could come in and get embraced in black nations. So that's why I say these folks got a narrative to promote, a narrative to push, man. I know a dude from Washington, D.C. who's an African chief, You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not even, he was born and raised in America. He an African chief. I'm telling you, you can go to black nations and get love, bro. Fully embraced, man. So these folks, man, with a chip on their shoulder, creating imaginary enemies, man, listen. And this chick, she look mixed race for real. And we're going to get into that later. But, you know, the history of mixed race people always trying to cause division amongst the blacks, man. The mixed race always trying to cause division amongst the blacks. Can't stand them folks, man. Let's continue. This person said, professional victims creates a problem that does not exist and then cries about how everyone's being mean to you when no one even said anything. This person said, the white power structure loves the division that we are creating amongst ourselves, but us as black folks are the masters of self-destruction, so I guess it was only a matter of time. This person said, she's trying to gain butter biscuits from Tariq Nasheed and all the other haters of global black unity, but she felt safe down there. Obviously, her hating ass made it back in one piece. Imagine having fun, but still trying to make it about hate. This person said, you just left Jamaica. Looks like you had a good time. Was treated with great hospitality from the locals, but then you came home with this idea that Jamaicans don't like black Americans. This person said, we accept all sorts in Jamaica, so just have fun. Totally unprovoked negativity is not good for you. Let the coconut water wash off your heart. Keep debating for when you get back to wherever you come from. This person said, now this is my good brother Camji verse. What up, bro? He said, how do we know that she is black? She looks light, to say the least. Now listen, Camji verse, listen, that's why I say, man, the history of the mixed race always causing division amongst the blacks. That's why you got to watch the mixed race. I even did videos on how there was a whole entire race war in Haiti during and after the revolution between the blacks and the mixed race. So when it comes to me, whenever I hear anybody of, you know, with heavy admixture with who's mixed race making these, you know, inflammatory statements, I just shrug it off like, oh, they go to mixed race again, you know, doing what the mixed race folks do. You know, that's all I look at it, man. They go to mixed race doing what they do. And I noticed that pattern, especially amongst the Tariq Nasheed crowd. Now, I'm not saying there are definitely some, you know, some black folks in the Tariq Nasheed crowd who are not mixed race, but I see the most passionate supporters, the most adversarial, the most antagonistic folks when it comes to, you know, African people, is usually the mixed race crowd. You know, there's this one guy on YouTube named Mike TV, and he's always going hard for that Tariq Nasheed ideology, man. You know, talking about, oh man, you a dirty African booty scratching tether from the third world country, and you defecating outside, and you know what I'm saying, you don't got no electricity, no running water. Like the most inflammatory statements coming from this biracial dude. You know what I'm saying? These mixed race people. It's because these mixed race people know the reason why they're so adversarial to black folks outside the country is because they know when it comes to pretty much every country outside of the United States, that one drop rule bullshit does not exist, right? They're only black in the United States. But when it comes to black countries, because we don't believe in the one drop rule, we look at them like, bro, who the fuck is this white dude? You know what I'm saying? And I feel like if I was a mixed race dude, and yeah, I'd probably be offended too. I'd probably be offended too. But thankfully for me, I have 2 black parents, 4 black grandparents, and 8 great grandparents. You know what I'm saying? So I don't got them problems. But anyways, man, like for example, Mike TV right now has a live stream going on entitled, take a look up on the screen, Pan-Africanists are delusional. Africans don't like black Americans. Like I said, what I told you about the mixed race people always causing division amongst the blacks. What I tell y'all, this is what they do. This is what the mixed race people do. This is what they do. He had another live stream yesterday where he said, entitled, Africans flee their countries and talk down on black Americans. Another live stream entitled, Foundational Black Americans must delineate from the foreigner. Another live stream entitled, Africans hate us. Why should we be Pan-African? Another live stream entitled, Black Americans are willing to help Africans. Humble yourself first. And as you can see, some starving African children with their hand out as the thumbnail for the video. And this is another thumbnail from another video, as you can see, right? So like I said, a cartoon of a malnourished African child and, you know, this biracial dude on the left pointing at him. And another video entitled, There is no such thing as Pan-Africanism. Stop being delusional. Another video entitled, Africans crossing the US-Mexico border. Africans versus black Americans. Another live stream entitled, Immigrant Criminals. Black Americans must delineate. Now, like I said, me personally, this is why, you know, I keep the mixed race at an arm's length. I don't even like dealing with mixed race women. You know what I'm saying? Listen, listen, if she don't got 2 black parents, it's gonna be hard for me to take her serious. I'll be honest. Like, I'm not vibing with them folks for real. And even if they got 2 black parents, they gotta have 4 black grandparents for me. You know, if you got a white granddaddy, you know, Native American grandmama, you know, I'm looking at you funny too. Now let's continue. My boy Camjiverse came back again at the top. He said, I'm guessing that one of her parents is white. They just need to come out and admit it. And the brother on the bottom said, her grandmother told her she was Indian. That's the most we know. Man, they grandmama with a 6th grade education talking about we the Native American. Man, fuck out of here. Let's continue. In fact, that reminds me of this hilarious tweet that I seen from this brother a couple weeks ago. He said this, take a look up on the screen. I'm 1/4 Cherokee and Creek. No, your grandmama was a hoe who lied to your granddaddy about why his son came out light-skinned. Man, listen, I'm not denying that it was some mixing and mingling, that it was some African men smashing on some Native American women, that it was some African women giving it up to some Native American men. I'm not eliminating that. That might be the reason why some of y'all got 2%, Native American ancestry on the DNA test. But the facts is this. The facts is this. The white man was cracking your grandmama, okay? The facts is this. Yes, even after slavery, yes, the white man was cracking your grandmama. I don't got them problems. You said the white man wasn't cracking my grandmama or my mama. But a lot of y'all, the white man was cracking your grandmama. That's what it is. That's why you came out looking like you do. That's why your hair is like the way it is. That's why your complexion is the way it is. The white man was cracking your grandmama willingly after slavery. So stop talking. Niggas is stupid. Let's continue. Now let's go back to that lady, in Jamaica. She went back on Twitter and she said this. Take a look up on the screen. Me, Jamaicans hate black Americans. Them, get out of our country. Go back to police brutality. This is the only country you can feel free and safe. Akata, this is why our family says to stay away from you. So this lady says she went to Jamaica and they were calling her Akata. Okay, they were calling her Akata. And I'm not going to get into the history of the word Akata because I'm not a Nigerian from the southwest of Nigeria. I believe that's a word from, created from the Yoruba language, which is a specific demographic of people within Nigeria, right? So this lady said she went to Jamaica and the Jamaicans were calling her Akata. That's how you know these folks, listen, man, that's why I say these folks shouldn't even be allowed to get a visa to come into the country because at this point, this shit is ridiculous. Now, anybody knows, regardless of whatever black country you come from, there's gonna be those who are born and raised inside the country. They're gonna look at those who are the diaspora of the country or those who are born and raised outside the country as different from them. They're gonna look at them like, yeah, you part of the culture, but you ain't really born and raised. You ain't really from here. It's what black people do. Like, you ain't from this block for real. You ain't from this neighborhood for real. The same thing happens in whatever black country you go to. So in Nigeria, they have a word called Akata. The Yoruba have a word called Akata. Basically, for those who were born and raised in the diaspora, you might have been the son of Nigerian immigrants, or you might be a part of the diaspora and you are coming back to the continent. They have a word called Akata. So now you have folks from the Tariq Nasheed crowd who says this is racial hate speech. You know what I'm saying? This is a racial slur. You know what I'm saying? When you go to Haiti, for example, me, due to the fact that I was born and raised outside the country, they gonna look at me a little different. They gonna look at me as a little less authentic than a son of the soil that was born and raised inside the country, right? But it's not until I open my mouth and I can speak the language and I show them that I got a deep understanding of the culture and history, they'll accept me like, okay, he really one of us for real. But you always gonna get, they gonna tease you a little bit like, yeah, you an American though, you know what I'm saying? You Haitian, but you know what I'm saying? You American though, you know what I'm saying? Uso American, you know what I'm saying? So you get used to that. Like, every black culture you go to, it's the same thing. But these folks, like I say, man, the victim complex is so crazy. They feel like, man, this is racial hate speech. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, let's continue, man. This person said she wants you guys to believe that Jamaicans are calling her Akata. This victimization fetish must be studied. Now, it's crazy because, like I said, Akata is a Yoruba word, specifically based out of southern Nigeria. So the Jamaicans really traced most of their lineage and most of their connection to the continent to the Ghanaians, right? To the people of Ghana. And there's no language in Ghana that has the word Akata. It doesn't exist, right? So if the Jamaicans were using words that are connected to the continent, it would most likely be one of the many languages originating and spoken in Ghana, right? So like I said, these folks, it is what it, listen, man, they don't know shit about shit. Let's continue. This person said, who in Jamaica says Akata? Or is this some inner delusional dialogue? This person said, you weird as hell. Just enjoy your time and make it home safe. Man, for real. This person said, just enjoy your vacation and buy from the locals, weirdo. Like I told you, when this rhetoric comes into real life, when they try to bring this rhetoric into real life, folks just be like, man, shut your dumb ass up, weird ass motherfucker. Like, man, shut the hell up, bro. Laugh your dumb ass out the room, man. That's why this rhetoric stays on the internet. And remember, like I told you, a lot of folks that promote and follow this ideology, they're mixed race. So once they come around the blacks and try to push this ideology, they get laughed out the room. They, man, shut your dumb ass up, weirdo. You know what I'm saying? That's why they keep it on the internet, man. They keep it on the social media apps, man. Let's continue. This person said, enjoy Jamaica and maybe ease up on the condescension. Have you ever considered that people just hate you and not all black Americans? It's a strong possibility. This person said, I'm glad you're enjoying your birthday festivities in Jamaica. We welcome you to visit our island and to embrace our culture. But why was the shade and negativity necessary? Because, brother, like I told you, typically people who are nationalistic, they venerate the accomplishments and the achievements and the history of their ancestors and, things like that. But these folks have a different version of nationalism, right? Like, they have an adversarial form of nationalism where I have to antagonize this other group of people, right? It's kind of like similar to the whites. Like the whites have a similar form of nationalism also, where we have to antagonize another group of people. Like we can't just be nationalistic and just be nationalistic. We have to antagonize somebody else in order to feel pride about ourselves. I don't know what it is, but anyway, let's continue. This person said, maybe they just don't like you, and it's obvious why. Your personality, straight trash. This person said, a Jamaican called you an Ikata. Log out and call your therapist. Ha! Oh, man. Now, anyways, going back to why I asked the question, should black nations allow people who follow and support and promote the ideologies and narratives of Tariq Nasheed to enter their country? I say no. And the same reason I would say no to why a Frenchman, a Britishman, Portugueseman, et cetera, should not be allowed in these nations due to the history of conflict and due to the interest of national security. These guys obviously have a nationalistic leaning towards America and the interests of the U.S. State Department. These guys obviously have an adversarial orientation to African people, black people, African descended people. It's already bad enough that we have U.S. military servicemen active in our nations working to advance and maintain and defend the interests of the U.S. State Department. It's already bad enough that we have black CIA agents, and I've done videos on this in the past, the most notable one being Mr. Darrell Blocker, who was in the running to be the Secretary of Defense back in 2020 when Joe Biden was running for the elections. It's already bad enough that we are dealing with these black military men, these black CIA agents, and now we got to deal with these Tariq Nasheed dick riders? Oh my God. You know what I mean? Bringing that bullshit narrative from the internet into real life? Oh my God, bro. Oh my God. Listen, in the interest of national security, I think anybody who follows the ideology of Tariq Nasheed should be banned from all black nations around the world. I think so. The same way how back during the Cold War, the United States was banning all communists. All communists had to be deported or denationalized during the years of the Cold War. How during 9/11, if you resembled the Arab Muslim, everybody was looking at you funny. I think the same energy should be kept for anybody talking about, I was already here. I'm an indigenous, aboriginal, Native American that sprang from the soils of Mesoamerica and shit like that. And I'm a mixed race individual, and only 5% of Africans came to the New World because the slave ships didn't exist. Anybody saying that just shouldn't even be allowed to even make it past the airport. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think like you should be detained at the airport and sent back. That's me though. Because for whatever reason, the people who promote that ideology, they cannot separate their supposed nationalism from the adversarial nature and the adversarial emotions they feel towards black people around the world. Now, I told you a part of that reason is because some of these folks are mixed race, right? So they've never been accepted any time in their life, right? The mixed race individual has always been fighting to be accepted somewhere in some community. The white community, listen, at the door, they tell you, nigga, fuck out of here. You know, the white folks tell you, nigga, I ain't fucking with you. So then they go to the black folks, and the black folks be like, oh man, listen, man, you got a white daddy, man. You ain't a real black man. You ain't a real black woman for real. Get out of here. So they never really got accepted nowhere. They know that they can't go to Africa because the African's gonna be like, nigga, you a white person. You know what I'm saying? Get out of here. You know what I'm saying? So they finally found some acceptance and some camaraderie in this like FBA shit that Tariq Nasheed been promoting, right? Because in the FBA shit, it's not really about being black for real. It's more so culture over race, right? So now they finally feel accepted somewhere, like finally, you know what I mean? Finally. So they're the ones who go the hardest, you know, on the anti-African, anti-immigrant bullshit because they finally feel accepted somewhere. That's why me, you know, I'm Haitian. You know, our history with the mixed race is way different. We done fought race wars against the mixed race. So, you know, we ain't fucking with the mixed race. Anyways, man, it's your boy Neferkari. That's Salim back in the building. Yes, indeed. Cash App up on the screen, and I'm gone. Peace.
Reincarnated, I'm back in original fashion. I left on a horse and came back in the ass, and I left with abundance and came back to famine. We used to be pyramids, now we be rapping. Look how the mighty have fallen. Used to be running, now we be walking. When you be cooning, that's when they applauded. Selling your soul, your sons and your daughter. Gotta come up in this shit. They stuck in the mix. Really, my heart it be breaking. That's why I'm stacking that paper and handle my business. Pass it down in generation. Talking about money and power and building a nation. That's a deadly combination. Never be watching the TV, they pushing agendas, falsifying information. Know they got malice intentions. Step in the room and I'm feeling the tension. Enemy watching me blocking my vision. Been for the check cause I need my redemption. Building my kingdom, I need it protected. Ready for war like a young money Congo. Never decided the team is the motto. Up in the crib and I'm whipping up waffles. Up in the crib and I'm smoking gelato. I'm chilling, I'm taking my pain and make it ambition. I'm blessed by the gods, but I ain't religious. I came for the power, they came for the bitch. They making no hourly wage, I got business. This is an art, and they could never be taught. Selling my soul, I can never be bought. Play with my money, I see you ain't caught. Run to the check and I do it for sport. Babylon falling, I go to the source. Packing my luggage and go overseas. Shorty be with me and she so elite. Shorty be chocolate, I'm calling her Hershey. Secret intelligence probably gon' murk me. Don't fuck with brands, cause nigga I'm Haitian. Say the wrong shit and get smacked in their faces.